8 wins and joining us. First of all, congratulations as his his family was expanded last week, and also he does a tremendous job. You see him on pre- and post-game live Birds Huddle. Also has a Super Bowl ring, Mr. Barrett Brooks, joining us from the Ricky Room on the Comcast Business Hotline. How you doing today, Barrett?
Man, I'm great, man. Grandson doing well. I got 4 grandkids now, so, life is good for me. Eagles winning, grandkids well. Life is good.
Now, this is how nice a guy Barrett is for people don't realize. I asked him to come on, and he hits me with, I would, bro, but my daughter's getting ready to have my baby today. I was like, I think that's a little bit more important. So congratulations to you again for that.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, yeah.
You would love how we started the show today because we started talking about the trenches. So on the offensive and defensive line. So you've been watching the Eagles, obviously, even closer than we all have. Can you talk about both the offensive line and defensive line and how important the domination in the trenches has been during this 8-game winning streak?
I mean, you look at all the teams right now that are doing well, teams that run the rock. And it's starting to get colder, and this is where you start jockeying for position in the playoffs or where you're going to be at in the playoffs. And when you run the ball as well as the Eagles are running the ball with the trenches, I mean, it's built to last, number one, but it's also built to go on the road. You can take that song and dance anywhere inside a dome. In cold weather, -degree weather, you can go down to Florida and play in Tampa and run over them. It's just a great scheme, and the reason why they're able to do that is because they have 700 pounds on each side of the ball. I mean, look at that, Mekhi Becton, Johnson. Then you look on the other side, you got Landon Dickerson, and then you got big, Malata on that side. I mean, you coming off the ball, eventually the laws of physics are just not in your favor when you're a defensive lineman going against them. You're getting double-teamed every single play in the run, and then you turn around towards the third and fourth quarter. Now you're thinking, all right, it's taking me a little longer to get up from this double team. It's taking me a little longer to get my hand back in the ground and line up another rep. The war of attrition gets won because the gravity takes over. We're hitting you in the mouth every single play, and so because of that, it's easier then to start dominating. Now those 3 techniques they used to be able to get down on a double team and create a big mess right there, they start getting double back and putting a lap of the linebackers. Now the linebacker can't do his job because he's got a defensive lineman in his lap, and that's when you get Saquon Barkley running up the middle of the field for touchdowns. It's just the war of attrition. You win it. Now the defensive side of the ball, same thing. We're starting to get to a point now where you got to worry about Jalen Carter. I mean, he is an offensive coordinator's nightmare. I mean, this kid is we don't see the stats, but all the stats point towards him being so impactful. I mean, you see Milton Williams and those guys having great plays because he is just causing such a racket in the middle of that defense. I mean, whether it's getting to the field, stopping a run with penetration, or getting penetration, rushing the passer. I'm on 8 quarterback hits, a sack, 3 tackles for loss. Man, that kid is incredible, man. So it's just when you got the trenches taken care of like the Eagles are, and that's the way Howie does it. He takes care of the trenches first, and then he allocates money out, outside of that. Things just go well for you as an offensive and defensive standpoint.
I got to ask you, Vic Fangio, I mean, obviously you got to love him now. I mean, nobody knew what you really were going to get at the beginning of the season. He has put rookies into position. He has put new linebackers into position. How has he done all this and it's almost like the defense is all just playing as one unit?
Well, Vic Fangio, I mean, you talk about Miami being stupid. I mean, they got too many clubs and stuff out there. Them guys going and playing in them clubs instead of going out there and listening to what Coach Fangio is teaching them. He is a teacher, number one. He's coaching them, but he's teaching them how to play his defense. Those guys know where to get to, how to get there, and how they fit within the framework of that defense. And that's what makes them so good. They take time to learn what the defensive scheme is. Last year, we didn't know what kind of defensive scheme we were running because we had 2 different ones at the time. We now know exactly where we need to go. And then to go from being the oldest team on defense to now the youngest team on defense, they're faster now, they're more explosive now. I tell you what, this Eagles team, I don't know how they did it on the defense side of the ball, but all these young guys are playing like they're 5- and 6-year veterans. These guys want to be great, and you can start seeing how they're starting to feed off each other. The defense over there looking at the offense, run the rock on Saquon Barkley, going out there and balling like that. But then you look at the offensive players looking over that side. Oh, they are lighting up the quarterback. You got, Jalen out there. You got I mean, even Big Davis stopping the run. I mean, these guys are doing this stuff like, oh, we about to get the ball back. You know, officers like, oh, we about to get the ball back. Let's go out there and score again. It's just these guys vibing off each other, and Vic Fangio just getting these guys to play at such a high level because he's taught them how to play the game from his vantage point.
We're speaking with Barrett Brooks from NBC Sports Philadelphia. He does a tremendous job, pre- and post-game live Birds Huddle, of course, and also has a Super Bowl ring to go with that. Barrett, I want to talk to you about the head coach for a moment because you talked about how physical they are. You just highlighted, how it's contagious. But a lot of times the identity of a football team comes from the head coach. What do you think Nick Serriani, especially after how things ended last year, what do you think his part in this team being so physical, what do you think his role is in all of this?
It's all about the work they're putting in, man, and that's what he's emphasized, the work we put in. Why put in all this work and not reap the benefits, from it? You go out there, you're busting your butt. You're out there practicing. I mean, he could have easily said, hey, I see you guys on Wednesday, and they didn't have to practice. I mean, they didn't have to come in. He said, no, we're going to come in and work. We're not going to take even the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers. We're not even going to take them lightly. We're going to go out and punish them just like we punished the Ravens. And it's all about that physicality and that physical nature. These guys got a bad disposition right now. They feel as though everybody, they don't believe in who they are as a team. They believe in themselves, but they feel as though everybody else doesn't believe in them. So they have a chip on their shoulder, probably the size of Rock of Gibraltar. They feel as though everybody's taking them, for granted, like they're not a good team. And I love the fact that they're in their foxhole and they're fighting their way out every single practice. It's how they say game, but I said every single practice because it means something to them. They want to be a physical team, so they're going out there and they're playing at that level. Physicality. You run the rock, that's physical. Stopping a run, that's physical. That's their mindset, and I love the coaches really got them out there thinking, hey, it's us against the world. You know what I'm saying? That's the way Nick Sirianni said, it's us against the world.
How would you look at Jalen Hurts' season as a whole right now, and what do you expect for him the rest of the way out?
Well, I mean, after those last 4 games, he is orchestrating this offense. Everybody's talking about, game managers. So what? I mean, so what? There's a bunch of guys that have been game managers, won Super Bowl. The best quarterback to ever play the game, a game manager. Tom Brady, like it or not, I said Tom Brady, he's the best. I mean, I got to say the GOAT. He took a Super Bowl from me. He was a game manager. People think that this offense just goes by Saquon Barkley. Yes, it does. But when he's not handing the ball off to Saquon Barkley, who do you think is running the offense? Who's giving those guys, a chance to go down the field and make these big plays? It's Jalen. Jalen is doing a great job as orchestrating this offense the way it's supposed to be run. And that's all I need him to do. You know what I'm saying? He's not turning the ball over. He's consistent on getting the ball to his weapons. That's what a quarterback does. You don't have to have them glaring numbers because at the end of the day, I won a Super Bowl with a second-year quarterback whose numbers were – he didn't even throw a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Ben Roethlisberger didn't throw a touchdown. He was kind of pissed off about it too. But at the end of the day, we ran the ball over 500 times, and we threw the ball like 350 times. It works. That system works. And at this point, all these smaller defenses, they want to stop the pass. Now they're getting beat up by this big offensive line, and receivers are going and want to block. They're getting beat up now because they can't handle the pressure of a 1,400 pounds coming off the rock and hitting you in the mouth every single play. They can't hold up to it. So this is the best thing they could have ever done is found an identity that they want to be a physical front that wants to run the rock. It's hard for teams to stop because they're not built to stop it.
I'm thinking about what you're talking about with them, the way they're running the ball and things like that. And I got to go over to Kellen Moore, who a lot of times he ran the ball in Dallas, but he had a different kind of high-powered offense at times. Do you think this is uncomfortable for him, or is he, because of the injuries and things like that, he's fitting the personnel? Only because this offense doesn't look exactly, at least in my opinion, what I thought it would look like. It's been effective, but it's been different. Is this more making an adjustment due to the personnel or injuries? Why do you think this offense ended up looking the way that it looks?
It has everything to do with this offensive line. I know everybody's saying Saquon Barkley, but it has a lot to do with this offensive line and their ability to come off the rock and hit people. Jalen, we want to, put him out of harm's way, run the rock because we don't have to worry about that. We run the rock because we have a big offensive line. We run the rock because we have the premier guy, not just in the conference, but in the entire NFL. I would dare to say that Saquon Barkley is now the face of the NFL. It's not Patrick Mahomes. It's not Josh. It's Saquon Barkley. I mean, they're turning around. They're making video games and putting his play in when he jumped around backwards inside video games already. So at the end of the day, I think it's more so taking advantage of the athletes that you have out there. You run the rock, you run the rock, you run the rock, and then you hit AJ on a slant. And I tell you what, those safeties and cornerbacks are making business decisions on whether they want to tackle him or not. He is just working this offense around the talents of the guys that he has in that locker room. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad. He's taking advantage of what Jalen does. Jalen loves to throw slants. He doesn't necessarily like to throw in the middle of the field, but he'll throw a slant in the middle of the field. You know, he doesn't have a problem with that. He's just taking advantage of what they like to do and how they like to play this game. And that means I take my hat off to Moore because he just is taking advantage of those guys in that locker room.
Well, Barrett, we appreciate all the knowledge as usual. We really appreciate everybody.
Appreciate it.
Everybody obviously watches you on pre and post
fire today.
Birds Huddle as well. And we'll talk.
I've been had this fire. I had this fire since you guys tried to think about and not talk about Dallas. I've had this fire since they started winning after. I've been had this fire because it's time to go. It's getting close to playoff time. This when things start happening. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Woo. Appreciate you, Barrett. That was Barrett Brooks there from the Ricky Room on the Comcast Business Hotline.
This fire.